Hey there everyone, I hope everyone is having a great week. I know I sure am, and I'm ready to get behind camera and talk about some things that have been unveiled to us. First of all, we got to see the Godzilla -0 trailer. So many questions, and it does what a teaser trailer does perfectly. It just leaves you wondering, what's the context of this? Is this King Ghidorah? Could it be new powers of the Godzilla? Maybe it's a new kaiju, but I guess we'll find out in due time. All we know is Godzilla is jacked, and he's also here in New York City as well. Now, of course, that movie I'm super hyped with, but of course, we also got the marketing. So, we got to see something new just last night. And that would have to be Hiya Toys still cooking with the Keizer Ghidorah, which this figure is extremely thrilling to look at. And to be honest, I gotta say, it did catch me left field. And I should have expected it considering that we saw Monster X about a year ago. So here we are with Keizer Ghidorah, which is the evolved form. And honestly, this figure, I'm having trouble finding any issues about it. There might be one minor issue that I do have with it, but it's just a little small nitpick. It has nothing to do with the mold and design itself. Hopefully it does end up being as great as it seems though on paper and what we're seeing in the first promotional shots. Alright, so at the moment I'm recording this, it has not been put up on Calcus.com. I'm still waiting for the pre-orders to actually open up on there. I do believe Big Bad Toy Store does have it up there. They seem to get things really fast, but also you got quite the wait time through Big Bad Toy Store. But INS Hobby and Calcus have not quite got it up. And this right here is just, God, it looks straight out of the movie. I'm hoping that the final product just catches this as well as what we're seeing here for the prototype, honestly. Like, I gotta say, I'm super excited about it, and I do predict there will be another variant of Keizer Ghidorah they probably will do. I'm thinking to myself that we probably will see a battle damage version, probably with the head being ripped off, because that's kind of the thing to do with King Ghidorah's. But and by the way, I do have the battle damage 91. I've got the review filmed for it. I just haven't edited it yet, and I'm gonna post it up eventually once I'm finished with it. This video just kind of took priority over it, but Lord, I'm honestly just loving everything I'm seeing, and I got to say, the more I think about it too, has SH Monsters actually done a Keizer Ghidorah? Because I don't think they really have. Another thing that's really getting me about this figure is look how well blanketed the articulation is on the neck. This is probably one of the best for any King Ghidorah, or I guess Ghidorah variant we should say. But it's so well just blanketed in there with all the blacks and the paint apps and just the design itself. Like, honestly, this is just out of the ballpark. Awesome looking shot right there of all the heads right there. I'm hoping that definitely the teeth definitely are as nice as they look right here. I mean, just to me, I've seen some say the Shimu action figure, which to me didn't have some of the better ones, but this is one of them. Hoping that once the final product comes on out, we can see it just as perfect. The eyes, not to mention too, as well. I mean, that's just complete grand slam. Of course, they are simpler to do, these eyes, compared to most Godzilla King Ghidorahs. But this one right here, man, I hate using the word glaze, but man, I'm all about it. I really am. And I'm excited to have a proper Keizer Ghidorah in my collection. And it does make me kind of ask and wonder, how long until we see our Godzilla Final Wars Godzilla? It's got to be sometime soon. And this might be their method right here to kind of reverse things, because I feel like Hiya Toys, the way that they necessarily do things is they go ahead and they show us the Godzilla first, and the villains come on out later. This, they've kind of reversed it. In fact, I'm shocked we haven't seen a Gigan quite yet. But this is just one of those things that I do like the way they're going about this. I guarantee somewhere in the works there is a Final Wars Goji. This isn't inside information that I'm going to claim or know. This has just been speculation on my end. It just seems like it's one of those things that just seems improbable that it's not going to come out. And I've talked to a few different people about this, the Final Wars Godzilla, and I can't wait to see how they execute it in the scale versus how it scales versus this action figure, I should say. I am hoping that action figure has some of the best articulation of any Godzilla we have possibly seen from them. It should be easier to do since it's a much more slender design. Back to this Keizer Ghidorah, you can see some of the articulation here, the cuts, 25 centimeters, and keep in mind this is only in this little slouched over neck position, so we might be able to get it just a little bit higher, honestly. Alright, so here we are with the key information that Hiya Toys released on their socials. I'm not going to read this all out to you guys. If you guys want to go ahead and pause the video, go ahead and do that and read it yourself. but I'll go ahead and highlight a few notes and give my thoughts. We are looking at an average price of about $109.99, and of course the US tariffs will put it around $129.99. Please keep in mind, depending on where you order these action figures from, it might kind of fluctuate a little bit. Secondly, this figure is slated for a Q2 2027 release date. If you are a new collector of Hiya Toys, I'm going to warn you guys of something. These figures don't always meet the release dates. We've seen figures get pushed back to like Q3, 4, sometimes Q1 of the following year. This is also why when it comes to releasing, say those promo videos I've been doing lately on my socials, I don't always attach the specific quarter date because I know how fast this stuff can change. So it's going to be quite the wait for this action figure. But then again, I feel like we're rolling through 2026 pretty fast and pretty smooth, and we already have a lot of figures on the way that Hiya Toys has already told us about. Some of them that have kind of been forgotten, kind of like the Mechagodzilla 2. I'm sure they haven't forgotten about it. I'm not taking a jab at Hiya Toys, but it's one of those ones that we're waiting to see a further update about. And this one's just one of those ones that I'm okay if I don't get it Q2 of next year. But it's something I'm excited to see is even on the table. And plus all the possibilities it teases for Godzilla Final Wars, which if they could get in there and do all the kaiju from that movie, that would be a massive win, honestly, for collectors, because that movie, I will say, is a movie that is hit or miss, but it's got a lot of fun design, a lot of fun kaiju that we hadn't seen in years up until when that movie came out. And I know I'd love to have Anguirus, Hedorah, Gigan. Of course, I would love to have the classic Showa designs of those kaiju first before we eventually got to Final Wars, but I'm not going to go ahead and alienate the fact that there's a bunch of people out there that love Final Wars and would love to have action figures from that movie. And that's why, to me, there's just a lot of excitement about this Keizer Ghidorah, and just looking at it, it looks beautiful. I don't really see a lot of big things that are making me think, yeah, you might want to delay this back further because it looks really bad. I feel like we've seen maybe 1 or 2 cases of that. Specifically, Godzilla 2002 and 91 were probably some of the hiccups in the bunch of Hiya Toys that have been coming on out. I will go ahead and say I did want to record a video on other figures that are coming on out, like the MUTO and the MUTO's pack, I should say, and the WARBAT. This figure is looking pretty gnarly, and to be honest, it might be one of my most anticipated from the Monsterverse, the legendary kaiju. I was a big fan of WARBAT, even though WARBAT had maybe like less than 2 minutes of screen time in the movie. The thing that cracked me up about WARBAT is WARBAT shows up in the movie when Kong first gets to the Hollow Earth and damn near kills Kong. That kind of cracked me up because if it hadn't been for human intervention, then WARBAT would have had him. But this is still just a really wicked design. It reminds me of one of the kaiju from Godzilla, the series. I can't remember the name specifically. But yeah, I mean, there is one accessory that is missing that I would have added in here. I would have added the severed WARBAT head. I think that would have been perfect to go with your Kong, honestly. I don't know if they're going to do another variant in this figure. To be honest, I'm not really too concerned. This probably will be the only WARBAT I will need because it's just so perfectly done. And I don't know what else they could do to improve upon this figure. So just my thing is I'm hoping the segments are just as smooth and clean as we've been seeing out of the tails of all the kaiju that have been coming out, including the stands in there. Great idea also, but I cannot wait to get this one up on my shelf, honestly, and pose it in different ways, and possibly even hang it from the ceiling, for like fishing wire or something like that. But something to get it up in the air, honestly, that I trust it with. But this is definitely one of the ones that I'm looking forward to. $79.99 on Hiya's website directly. It is still for pre-order, and Calcus is not for pre-order, so I'll leave the links down below and if you'd like to go ahead and get that. So let's go ahead and switch gears and talk about the MUTOs now. Now there is something that I wanted to go and talk about. I'm going to go ahead and bring my female MUTO in the frame right here and just kind of shed some light on my thoughts on this figure about 2 years later. I've already done a full review on this action figure, so if you guys want to look that up, it's there. But long story short, this figure came out during a time where I felt like Hiya Toys and the articulation was pretty stiff. So for example, I'd say between like the Godzilla 2019, King Ghidorah, Skullcrawler, and this figure, that window of releases was pretty stiff, and I always hated articulating this action figure. I'm still not big on articulating this one myself, honestly. So when I see they have a new MUTO coming out, I'm not so much just looking at the paint apps. They look good, but I'm kind of thinking, please tell me the articulation is going to be smoothed over so we can go ahead and articulate this figure without worrying about breaking it possibly. That is one of the biggest things I'm asking for, is quality control when it comes to the new MUTO. Now this one is making use of fluorescent paint apps to the eyes, which kind of give it that glowing look. And I will say this. A few years ago, I kind of speculated, because it was taking maybe about, like, okay, I think we got the last MUTO in 2024, I think it was, 2024. And after a while, I was thinking, what if they do a 2-pack? You know, especially after we saw the Stuko and Mothra 2-pack, and it kind of made me wonder. And here we are now. It kind of sucks that we got to pay for another female MUTO. I will admittedly say it does look tremendously better, darker. Also, the fluorescent paint apps for the figure do look phenomenal. We do have that both on the underneath belly right there to kind of indicate that it is pregnant with the eggs. Also, the accessories, we also get the little missile that the male MUTO picked up, and 2 different sets of wings, the flying and then the folded in ones. I just kind of question a little bit if Hiya Toys kind of felt like, because the MUTOs aren't quite as marketable as some of the other kaiju, they felt maybe there'll be more interest if they go back and just combine it with the female MUTO, which is a big selling point. I think it's the more marketable one. I'm not trying to hate on the MUTOs. I think they're awesome. They're some of my favorite kaiju from the Godzilla MonsterVerse. But as far as it comes down to, like, when you compare them to the classics, say like King Ghidorah and Mothra and King Kong, definitely not as marketable. In fact, I would argue Shimu is more of a marketable kaiju than the MUTO is, and that's just based off of how well New Empire did versus Godzilla 2014. But I think there are drastic improvements. Just my biggest thing is, are we going to see improvements in articulation? And I really hope so, because I feel like Hiya Toys in recent years has took a huge step up when it comes to articulation, making it smooth, and just the way we were able to just manipulate the figure into different poses without worrying about breaking it. But yeah, these are our 3 figures. I wanted to go and talk about the WARBAT and the MUTO, since I had mentioned in my previous video I was not feeling well, and then the last week I woke up and I was feeling kind of shitty again, and I just did not want to do a whole lot, honestly, other than just get through each day. And now here I am, I'm just feeling 100%, just ready to get into it. And we've got some phenomenal stuff on the way. We have yet to see if Hiya Toys is actually going to do anything when it comes to the Godzilla Minus series. Of course, that might have to do with the licensing issues, or maybe just waiting to get the green light. I do believe eventually it will happen, it's just that right now there's just other things they're more focused on. I would love to see at least bare minimal a -1 Godzilla figure, honestly, a few variants. We could get maybe about 3 variants out of that. I feel like there's maybe like 1 or 2 that I need myself. But lots of good things. You know, we still got to see information about Supernova on the way. This is just the information that I wanted to go ahead and highlight and talk about, and I'm hoping that you guys are excited. Please let me know what you think of all the following figures. Are you hyped for -0? Are you going to get the WARBAT, the 2-pack, or even the Keizer Ghidorah? I know I'm going in on all of these right here. I mean, I feel like most of you guys probably are going in on them all yourself, honestly. Just a good time to be a Godzilla fan. It feels like nothing is off limits in Hiya Toys, even though there's been a few hiccups in their line. I feel like for the most part, pretty satisfied. So, sound off in the comment section. Catch you guys later.